This is a story that proves one doesn't need to be a dainty flower to be a princess. Once upon a time, in a kingdom that you're not gonna find on any map, there was a handsome young prince named Prince Lookwell. Yet despite his handsomeness and youth and wealth and power, Prince Lookwell didn't find a suitable princess to wed, all because of one woman, his mother, Queen Lookwell.
Mother, I'm a grown man. I've fought victorious battles against the goblins of Darkmoor. Surely I can be trusted with choosing who I want to marry.
Are you having a laugh? Because we are not amused. Are we not amused? I'm sorry, son, but you just can't be trusted with this decision. You just have no taste.
No taste? Tell me just one thing that was wrong with any of them.
Well, one was too short, one was too fat, one had an annoying habit of singing, one girl had one eye bigger than the other, one wore black socks with trainers, and one never wore proper clothes at all.
They don't need to be perfect. I am correct, am I, Father?
Perfect is the least I expect for my son and this family. Thusly, I am making a royal edict. Next week, May 3rd, in the year of our kingdom, we will host a royal bachelorette ball, inviting only the most suitable single princesses from the 7 realms.
Ugh, you're trying to fix me up. I don't want to be fixed up, Mother.
It is not a fix-up, it is a ball. If you say that you can be trusted to choose a suitable princess to wed, surely you can choose from the suitable girls that I invite. We only want you to be happy.
I'm not so sure it's my happiness you want.
Did you hear what your son said? Of course not. Wear your uniform with all the medals. Women love a man in uniform.
On the night of the royal bachelorette ball, every eligible princess from all the 7 realms arrived, all except for one.
Ah! We're stuck! It's going to take me a while to get us free!
Princess Brianna of the Hinterlands, the only female of her royal clan.
There's no time. I'm on an important mission.
To die.
Our ball is a roaring success. Just think, our future daughter-in-law is in this ballroom right now.
Look at that buffoon. He thinks he's a hero wearing those medals. Well, tonight, the goblins of Darkmoor will have their revenge.
Now is the time for the man of the hour to pick who will be his princess bride. If he gives you a rose, that means you've moved on to the next phase. If you do not get a rose, kindly leave at once.
So Prince Lookwell regarded the young women. The finest princesses 6 of the 7 realms could provide, and he rejected them all.
Thank you, ladies, for coming. So sorry you weren't selected. There are gift bags at the door. 1 per person, please. Are you determined to undo every nice thing we do for you?
And just when the party seemed over, there was one last guest knocking on the door.
I am Princess Brianna from the Hinterlands, and I must see Prince Lookwell at once.
Sorry, but the festivities have come to an end. Come back another time, perhaps, when you are not so repulsive.
Then, Princess Brianna charges into the ballroom and quickly and mercilessly dispatches the wicked assassins. We won't show it here, it's not for children, but believe me when I tell you it was... Ugh.
These men were assassins from Darkmoor, sent to kill Prince Lookwell. Behold!
You saved my life.
And suddenly, the prince had found who he wanted to give a rose to. Princess Brianna.
Are you certain you're a princess? You seem rather tall.
I assure you I am, Your Majesty. I am a warrior princess. When I received my invitation to the ball, I thought it would be the perfect opportunity for the goblins to exact revenge. I was correct.
We are very grateful to you for saving my son's life. I will send an envoy to Hinterlands to express my royal thanks. There are gift bags at the door. Bye-bye.
Mother, please. This beautiful and brave woman has come all this way to save my life. She should be provided clean clothes and stay overnight.
She couldn't possibly be a princess, yet my son is enamored with her.
I know of a way to verify if she's indeed a true princess. But we're going to need a lot of mattresses.
And so, the royal advisor had every servant in the castle gather every spare mattress they could find, and stack them in the guest room where the royal advisor placed a teeny tiny single pea underneath one of the mattresses. For it was believed that only a real princess would have the sensitivity to feel a pea through such a quantity of bedding.
Looks rather tall for a bed.
Well, you're rather tall. Good night.
But Princess Brianna could not fall asleep. Was she contemplating the goblin's next move? Was she overexcited by the day's events? Or was it something else unexpected?
Good morning. So, how did you sleep? Very well, I imagine.
I've slept in barns and dry riverbeds, the holds of ships and prison cells. I've never been as uncomfortable as I was last night. And it was all because of this.
The queen couldn't believe her eyes. Like the legend states, only a real princess could have felt that pea through all those mattresses. So, that meant...
She truly is a princess. Mother, you gave her the pea test. How very rude. Princess Brianna of the Hinterlands, will you marry me?
Only if I have your parents' blessing.
Perhaps we will get back to you. to the family.
Also, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I think I saw bed bugs on some of the mattresses.
And so the prince and princess were married. And the pea which brought them together was placed in the Royal Museum, where it can still be seen today.
Have you sorted out what we will do with all the buggy mattresses?
And what about the mattresses? Well, the royal advisor decided to open up a shop in the village with steep opening day discounts. Once upon a time, there was a quaint village, populated by quaint people going about their quaint business. But at the edge of the village, there was an imposing castle that was owned by a wealthy and reclusive giant.
Oi, look at that castle. Can you believe that thing? So big and posh, like it's thumbing its posh nose at our little buildings.
No one has seen the giant in 7 years because he's traveling across the kingdom. But hidden behind the castle gates was a lush and beautiful garden. It was elegant and well-tended with peach trees, thick grass, tasteful statuary, and lovely, fragrant flowers. It was like Eden. And every afternoon after school, children would sneak into the garden and play in its lush grounds. They loved it very much. Until one day, the castle giant returned from his 7-year sojourn, and he was quite displeased to see the little trespassers.
I'm gone for just 7 years to visit my friend, Carl the Cornish Ogre, and I come home to this. Trespassers in my precious garden. That's right, you better run, you little menaces. Lucky for you lot that I'm not too jet-lagged to chase ya.
Remembering he still had the football, the giant threw it over his garden wall. He could have easily destroyed the ball. Instead, he sent it back to the children. Perhaps he was motivated by something inside him that he didn't understand yet. One day, when the giant had tea,
Perfect morning to have tea all by myself.
the children returned, and the giant was none too happy about it.
Sorry, Mr. Giant, but could we please have our ball back?
Here you go, children. Now get out! Get out! Get out!
The giant had enough of the juvenile trespassers on his property, so he took drastic action.
What you're doing is cruel. The children love your garden and they have nowhere else good to play.
I'm under no obligation to let anyone on my property, let alone a pack of wild, undisciplined, sniveling little brats.
How dare you say that? You know what you are? You are a sad, lonely, selfish giant.
And that's that.
And since that day, the giant wasn't bothered by children violating his peace and quiet again. He lived happily ever after. The end. No, wait! That's a terrible ending. There's more to this story. Although the giant was indeed selfish, he was also truly sad and lonely. He just didn't realize it yet. And the year unfolded in his garden with no intruders. Spring to summer, summer to autumn, and autumn to winter. But when spring returned, the giant noticed something unusual. His garden was still covered in snow. While it was spring everywhere else, somehow it was still winter in his garden. The giant wondered how this could be. Then another ball flies over the wall and into the snowy garden. A boy manages to squeeze through the bars of the gate to retrieve it.
Why is there snow here?
While the giant hid from the boy, he noticed something quite remarkable. The snow was melting where the boy walked, and flowers sprouted and bloomed. The small boy saw that his football was stuck in a very tall tree. He tried to climb it, but he was just too small for the task. As the giant watched the boy struggle to get the football out of the tree, he realized something. Spring was returning to his garden. And the giant wondered if the children playing in his garden had something to do with it.
Everybody, come back. My garden is open to all.
Hey, that dangerous, selfish giant is trying to lure the kids into the garden. Let's get him!
So the kids from the village returned and played in the garden. They were delightfully surprised by all the snow. And as they played, the giant's entire garden began to transform from winter into spring. The giant was right, and suddenly he wasn't feeling lonely anymore.
Suddenly, I feel like sharing everything I have. I don't feel lonely anymore.
And the giant lifted the boy up into the tree. But then the villagers showed up armed with pitchforks, hoes, spades, and brooms.
Put that kid down, you monster, or we'll run you out of the village!
Thank you, Mr. Giant.
It's your garden now. This garden is open to all.
The villagers put down their weapons and entered the garden, joining their children in play. Many years later, the giant grew old and feeble. And although he had lovely memories of the time the children played in his garden, he was sad and lonely again because they stopped coming.
I reckon they've all grown up, little Daisy. They've moved on with their lives. They never call. They never write.
Then a young man came to the garden gates. He shouted to the giant.
Hello, Mr. Giant. May I visit your lovely garden?
The giant was delighted to have any visitor. so he waved at the young man and invited him in. The giant's old eyes widened with surprise. His wrinkled face drew a smile. The young man that stood before him was the small boy he befriended years ago.
Please, don't get up, but I want you to meet someone. Someone who wanted to see the garden I played in as a child. My son.
The young man shouts a name, and a small boy that looked so much like the boy the giant remembered from years ago entered the garden. And so as the years went on, new children of the village played in the garden, and years after that, their own children would play in the garden too. Their youth kept it evergreen long after the giant passed on. The giant wasn't remembered as mean and selfish. He was regarded as the giant who opened his heart and his garden to all those who seeked its company. The end.